I moved into this house 3 months ago. It's not old, not haunted looking, not the kind of place you'd expect to whisper back when you're alone. But there's something about the basement. The realtor said it used to be a wood shop. Cleaned out now, she told me, tapping the concrete floor with a heel. Great for storage. I remember nodding, already picturing shelves and tubs, maybe a freezer. I didn't expect to dread the stairs every time I took a box down there. The basement has always felt off. Too cold, even in the summer. The overhead light flickers once before staying on. The air smells faintly metallic, like old coins and wet copper. But yesterday was different. Yesterday, there was a door. Not the basement door. A new door in the far corner, behind the furnace, where there used to be just solid foundation wall. It wasn't there the day before. I know that sounds insane, but I know my basement. I put up shelving. I swept the whole thing myself. There was never a door there. And now there is. It's old, wood with flaking gray paint and a tarnished brass knob. A little warped, like it's been soaked in water. I stared at it for what felt like an hour. I even touched it. The knob was warm. I didn't open it. I wish I had never touched it. That night, I dreamed of knocking. Not someone knocking on the door, something knocking to get out. This morning, I went downstairs. The door was still there. I stared at it again, hard hammering like I'd never seen it before. I wanted to open it. I almost did, but I chickened out. I needed proof first. I needed someone else to see it. So I called my friend Nate. Nate's a contractor. He's seen all kinds of weird additions and basements and crawl spaces. If anyone could explain this, it would be him. When he showed up, I let him down without saying anything, just pointed to the corner. Tell me what you see. He froze. That's not right. You see it too, I whispered. Yeah, he said slowly. But, man, I helped you move in. This wasn't here. That's not even a wall that's supposed to have access. That's a load-bearing section. I nodded. Can you open it? He approached the door cautiously, like it might bite. He tested the knob, but didn't turn it. It's warm, he muttered. Weird. He leaned in and knocked. 3 short taps. Immediately, we both stepped back. Nothing answered. Not yet. Later, he suggested tearing the wall down around it. But I refused. Not yet. Let me figure out what this is. He looked at me hard. This wasn't built with the house. This is wrong, man. You should seal it. Or leave. Leave. I laughed, trying to hide the shaking in my voice. It's just a door. But it wasn't. That night, I heard it open. I didn't even know I was asleep until the creak pulled me from my dream. I bolted upright in bed, gasping. Silence. Then, a soft footstep, and another. Slow. Deliberate. On the basement stairs. I crept out of bed, grabbed the baseball bat I keep beside the nightstand, and tiptoed down the hall. Every floorboard seemed to groan under my weight. I held my breath. The basement door was open. I hadn't left it that way. From the dark at the bottom of the steps, something shifted. Hello? I called out, instantly regretting it. No answer. But I felt it, something down there. Watching. I turned on the basement light. Nothing moved. The air was still, heavy. I took 2 steps down, just enough to see into the basement. The new door was shut again. Tightly shut. I told myself it was a nightmare. Sleepwalking. Maybe I imagined the open door. Maybe I forgot to close it earlier. I almost believed that, until I found the muddy footprints on the bottom stair. They were barefoot, and too large to be mine. I didn't go down there all day. I told myself I was being rational, that I just needed time to think. But the truth is, I was scared. The kind of fear that sits in your stomach like cold lead. The kind that doesn't go away when the sun comes up. The footprints didn't lie. Something came through that door last night, and it hadn't left any prints going back down. Around dusk, I called Nate again. I didn't want to go back down there alone. Did you close it? He asked as soon as I told him what happened. I didn't touch it, I said. It closed itself. He swore under his breath. I'll be there in 20. When Nate arrived, he brought a thermal camera. For peace of mind, he said, though he looked just as unnerved as I felt. We descended into the basement together. The lights flickered again when I flipped the switch, like always. That flicker used to just annoy me. Now it felt like a warning. The door was still shut, but the air felt denser, more humid, like the moment before a summer storm. Nate turned on the thermal cam. Nothing. No shapes, no heat signatures near the door. Then he panned it across the room. In the upper right corner of the screen, for a brief second, a figure. Vague, tall, blotched in a cold blue. Then gone. He lowered the camera and looked at me. Something was just there. Was. I asked. My voice cracked. Yeah, it's gone now. Gone where? That night, I didn't sleep. I left all the lights on. I locked the basement door and wedged a chair under the handle, like some desperate horror movie cliché. At 3:12 a.m., I woke up to the sound of scratching. Not loud. Not frantic. Slow. Intentional. Like fingernails brushing wood. I didn't move. I just lay there, listening, trying to believe it was a branch, a squirrel, something normal. But I don't have trees close enough to the house. And the sound was inside. Eventually, it stopped. The next morning, I went down again. I had to see. The door was different. It looked older, wetter. The paint had peeled more. The knob had darkened, like it had aged overnight. But worse, the hinges were on the wrong side now. The door opened into the basement yesterday. Now it opened away toward whatever was behind it. I stared for a long time before I noticed the writing. Scratched into the wood, faint and crooked, just above the handle. Let me show you. I backed away, grabbed my phone, took a photo. It came out blank. Just a gray blur where the door should be. I tried again. Same result. Then my phone shut off completely. Battery dead, though it was full an hour ago. I went back upstairs. Paced. Argued with myself. Maybe it was a prank. Some kind of trick. Maybe Nate set it up. But no, he was disturbed too. And the writing, the hinges, the footprints, none of that made sense. I told myself I wouldn't go back down that night. But by 9 p.m., I was sitting on the basement stairs, flashlight in one hand, that in the other. I stared at the door, waiting. It didn't move. But then something whispered. My name. Soft. Drawn out. Like wind through reeds. I dropped the flashlight. Its beam swept across the floor, catching something in the far corner. A handprint. Dark. Smudged. Like ash or soot. Just one. And then, on the door again, a knock. 1, 2, 3. Then silence. This time, I didn't call Nate. I went back upstairs and didn't come down again until daylight. But the damage was done. Because now, it wasn't just the basement anymore. The smell followed me. Metallic. Damp. And that night, the whisper came again. But it wasn't from the basement. It was from under my bed. I didn't scream. I wanted to when I heard the whisper from under the bed. But something told me, don't make a sound. Don't move. Don't acknowledge it. It was like the thing beneath me was waiting to see if I'd notice. Eventually, the whisper stopped. But I didn't sleep. I just lay there, stiff as a corpse, until dawn painted the walls. When I finally got up the courage to look, there was nothing under the bed. No footprints. No shadows. But the air was stale and bitter, like whatever had been there left behind its breath. I went back to the basement that afternoon. I needed to know if the door was still there. If maybe this was all in my head. It was still there. But now it was open. Just a crack. A few inches. Enough to see that the space behind it wasn't the unfinished wall I expected, but blackness. Thick, total black, like water at the bottom of a deep well. There was sound coming from it. Not voices. Not footsteps. It was breathing. Ragged, slow, inhuman. I slammed the door shut and backed away, heart racing. The air had changed. It felt hungry. I thought about burning it, but I was afraid fire wouldn't do anything. Worse, that it might wake something up. Instead, I ran. I left the house. I drove around for hours. Got lunch I didn't eat. Sat in a Target parking lot listening to true crime podcasts just to feel normal. When I came back that evening, all the lights in the house were on. I hadn't left them that way. The front door was locked. But when I stepped inside, I heard the television in the living room. It was on a channel I'd never seen. Just static and a low voice murmuring under it, too soft to make out. When I turned it off, the screen flickered a moment too long, like something didn't want to let go. That night, I put a heavy bookcase in front of the basement door and pushed a chair against it for good measure. Then I locked my bedroom door. Around 2:40 a.m., I woke up again, this time to the sound of the bookcase scraping across the floor. Something was coming up the stairs. I grabbed the bat and stood by the door, not knowing what to expect. Then, suddenly, it stopped. No sound, no creaking, just stillness, until someone knocked on my bedroom door. Once, twice, 3 times. I didn't speak. I didn't move. Then, just as slowly, I heard the footsteps retreat. Back down the hallway, back down the stairs. And then, the sound of the basement door closing. In the morning, the bookcase was back in place, like nothing had touched it. But there was something new. On my bedroom mirror, written in the fog. You heard me. I tried to contact a priest that day. I know, it sounds dramatic. But what else do you do when your house develops a door to another dimension? Father Kilgore agreed to come by after sunset. When he arrived, I took him straight to the basement. He was quiet the whole time, rosary in one hand, holy water in the other. The door was shut again. No writing, no movement. He stood in front of it and began to pray. The moment he said, "Deliver us from evil," the doorknob began to turn. Slowly, deliberately. I backed away. Father Kilgore didn't stop. But then something knocked back from the other side. A rhythm I recognized. 1, 2, 3. The same pattern. Over and over. Then it stopped. And in a voice that sounded like mine, it whispered, "Let me in." Father Kilgore dropped the rosary. He fled the basement without a word. Later, I got a voicemail from him. "I'm sorry," he said. That thing knew you. It wasn't a haunting. It was a claim. He didn't explain what that meant. He didn't return my calls after that. And that night, the voice came again. Only this time, it was in the walls. It started whispering to me while I was brushing my teeth. At first, I thought it was static, maybe the pipes, maybe a neighbor's TV. But then I heard my name, drawn out long and slow from somewhere just behind the mirror. It didn't stop when I ran water over it. It didn't stop when I backed out of the bathroom, shaking. Later, as I sat on the edge of my bed, trying to breathe, the voice came from behind the wall. Same tone, same rhythm, like it was searching for the cracks. I called Nate again. He was reluctant to come. Said he hadn't slept well since his last visit. Said the photo he took on the thermal cam vanished from his phone overnight. "I think I'm being watched," he told me. "Even at home. My dog won't go near the windows." I begged him to come anyway. I couldn't face this alone. He showed up the next day, brought a sledgehammer. "Maybe we tear it out," he said. "Break through the back wall. See if it's a crawl space or whatever. Put this to rest." I nodded. Even if I was terrified of what we'd find, I couldn't go on like this. We went down together. The door was closed again, but the wood looked swollen, pulsing slightly like it was breathing. Nate stepped forward, lifted the hammer. "I'm gonna swing," he said. 3, 2. On 1, the door opened by itself. No sound, no creak. Just open. Behind it, pitch darkness. Not a wall, not a tunnel. A void. And then came the smell. Rot. Decay. Salt. Something like old seawater and open wounds. Nate dropped the hammer. From the blackness, something moved. It didn't step out. It flowed. A shadow, taller than the doorframe, with too many limbs. No face. Just something like a grin, stretched too wide across where a face might be. It didn't speak. It didn't need to. Nate screamed. I turned and ran. He didn't follow. I made it to the top of the stairs before I heard the door slam shut. And then silence. No more screaming. I tried to open the basement door, but it was locked. I called out, banged. Nothing. No reply. When I finally got it open 10 minutes later, the basement was empty. The door was gone. No frame. No corner. Just a wall, like it had never been there at all. But Nate was gone, too. I called the police. They searched the property. Brought dogs, scanners, heat cams. Found nothing. No sign of Nate. I showed them the picture of the door. It was just a blur. I told them the whole story. They looked at me like I was sick. Eventually, they left. Said they'd follow up. They never did. That night, I sat on the couch, too numb to cry, too wired to sleep. Then the television turned on. No remote. No timer. Just a burst of static and Nate's voice. Soft, trembling. Don't trust the walls. Then, silence. The screen went black. I pulled the power cord out of the wall. I haven't been down to the basement since, but the sounds are getting louder. Now I hear them in the vents, whispering, slithering, calling me. Sometimes I hear a knock on my bedroom window even though I live alone, even though I'm on the second floor. One night, I opened the closet and found a piece of paper taped to the back wall. It wasn't there the day before. It said, "The door was never in the basement. You were." I haven't left the house in 3 days. Not because I'm trapped. I've gone to the door 100 times. Hand on the knob. Keys in hand. But I can't make myself go. It's like the walls lean in when I try, like the air gets thicker. Like the house is holding me here. I've stopped sleeping. Stopped eating, mostly. The only thing I do is listen. Because it's always whispering now. Not just at night. Not just from the vents or the walls. From everywhere. I don't always understand the words. Sometimes they aren't even in a language I know. But I hear my name. I hear it laugh. And sometimes I hear Nate. Crying. Begging. Yesterday, I found a mirror in the attic. Not one I remember owning. It was round, old, its surface warped like old glass. Covered in a sheet. I should have left it there. But I pulled the sheet off. And I saw myself. Only not quite. My reflection didn't move like I did. It was slower. Off by half a second. Then it smiled, and I didn't. I smashed the mirror. Inside the shards, I could still see its grin. I think the house is changing. The hallway outside my room is longer now. The guest room door sometimes leads to the kitchen. Once, I walked into the bathroom and found a stairwell instead. But when I turned around, the door was gone. Just wall. It let me out eventually. But I think it was a warning. Or maybe a game. Last night, I dreamed of the door again. The one in the basement. Only this time, I opened it and stepped through. There was no floor on the other side. Just an endless fall, like gravity didn't matter. And as I fell, I saw rooms floating in the void, other basements, other houses, other people, all of them lost, all of them falling too. Some of them looked just like me. When I woke up, the basement door was back. No sound, no announcement, just back. Exactly where it was. Open, just a crack. There was a note on the first step, written in Nate's handwriting. "You'll go through eventually. Might as well walk." I packed a bag, put in water, a flashlight, food, phone, battery. Tried the door again. Still cracked open. Still that thick blackness beyond. I stood there for an hour, bag on my shoulder, trying to find a reason to leave, to stay, to do anything else. Then the lights flickered, and a voice from the dark said, softly, "You've always been mine." I turned to leave, and that's when I saw it. Not behind the door, but behind me. Myself, standing in the kitchen doorway. Same clothes, same bag, same look in my eyes. But the face was wrong. Not angry, not scared, smiling. And then, behind it, another me. And another. Dozens, all stepping from shadows, from mirrors, from walls. Each one a version of me. Each one whispering the same phrase. Come home. I don't remember running. But I must have. Because now I'm sitting in the street, laptop on my knees, typing this. The house is behind me. Windows dark. Silent. But I know it's still watching. Waiting. I know if I go back, the door will be open. And this time, I don't think I'll come back through it. If you're reading this, and you find a door that wasn't there yesterday, don't open it. Don't touch it. Because some doors open both ways. And some never close again.